The Forsaken Heir. Episode 92. At the moment when she was slightly lost, Charlie, who was under the helicopter, stretched out his hand to her again. Nanako didn't expect that Charlie would even help her to get off the plane, and her heart was as sweet as she was eating honey. Although she was a master, and she had taken rejuvenation pill, her strength had improved a lot, but she was still a little woman deep in her heart. Seeing Charlie as such a gentleman and so considerate, she immediately felt a little bit shy and moved her hand. Passed it over and said softly, "Thank you, master." Charlie smiled slightly and said lightly, "It's okay, it should be." At this time, Ito Yuhiko was pushed over by Emmy, and he said with a little excitement, "Mr. Wade, I didn't expect we would meet so soon." Charlie smiled bitterly, "Yeah, I didn't expect to meet again so soon. How has Mr. Ito been recently?" Ito put his hands together and said respectfully, "Mr. Wade, I have been doing well recently, but since I was injured, my physical fitness has not been very good. I often catch cold, feel weak, and night sweats are common. It just happens that Tokyo is cooling down these days, so I originally planned to go to the beach in the Maldives to recuperate for some time in 2 days. I didn't expect you to come suddenly." Charlie nodded and pointed to Warnia and said, "Mr. Ito, let me introduce you. This is my good friend, Ms. Warnia Song, the chairman of the Song group. Ms. Song is having a little trouble, so I came here this time. It's also for her." Looking at Warnia, Ito Yuhiko said very politely, "Hello, Miss Song, I am Ito Yuhiko. Mr. Wade is a distinguished guest of the Ito family, you are his friend, and you are naturally one of the distinguished guests of the Ito family. Welcome to the house." Warnia also politely bowed slightly, "Thank you, Mr. Ito." At this moment, Warnia was very surprised in her heart. She knew very well what status of the Ito family in Japan. In Japan, the strongest family is the Ito family. In addition to the Ito family, the rest are big chaebols composed of several families, but the strength of the Ito family, even when compared with those of the big chaebols, is not much worse. Unexpectedly, Ito Yuhiko of the Ito family was so respectful and polite to Charlie, which made her even more shocked by Charlie's strength. Ito Yuhiko slandered in his heart at this time, "This Warnia seems to be no worse than my daughter in terms of appearance, build, and temperament. She is definitely among the top beauties. She and Charlie are so close. Isn't she? What's the hidden deep relationship with Charlie? If this is the case, then the chance of my daughter and Charlie is even smaller." While he was feeling emotional in his heart, his sister Emmy hurriedly said, "Mr. Wade, it's quite cold outside, let's go in and talk." Only then did Yuhiko recovered, and hurriedly said, "Yes, yes. Go in and talk, and let Nanako prepare the tea ceremony to entertain the two. At the same time, tell the chef to prepare some breakfast." Inside the Japanese-style meeting room, Charlie and Warnia sat on the ground next to each other. Nanako knelt at one end of the tea table, elegantly and unhurriedly making tea for everyone. Charlie asked Warnia at this moment, "Warnia, what happened to you last night? Can you tell me in detail?" Ito Yuhiko also hurriedly said at this time, "Miss Song, I have a bit of energy in Japan. You might as well tell the story." I and the entire ITO family will definitely be able to help you." Warnia bowed slightly and said, "Thank you, Master. Thank you, Mr. ITO and Miss ITO." After thanking him, Warnia continued, "I came to Japan this time to reach strategic cooperation with Nippon Steel. I talked to their vice presidents for several rounds. Until last night, their chairman decided to see me, to sign a contract with me. Because their chairman is in Nishitama County, I drove there overnight. I didn't expect to be hit by a car into the cliff on the road." Yuahiko Ito frowned and said, "It's a bit strange. The chairman of Nippon Steel has a deep friendship with me. According to his style of working, he should not ask you to sign a contract at night, and even if he signs a contract, he will not call you to Nishitama County because his mansion is very close to me, but a few minutes' drive from here. After dinner yesterday, he visited me at the mansion." Takehiko's words made Charlie suddenly alert. He asked, "Mr. Ito, are you familiar with the chairman of Nippon Steel?" "Yes." Takehiko said very seriously, "The chairman of Nippon Steel is named Watanabe Shinka, and he has a deep friendship with me." Charlie nodded and said, "Then please ask him if he is looking to cooperate with a Chinese company to build a factory recently. If so, ask him which company he is cooperating with and whether it has been finalized." Takehiko said immediately, "Okay, Mr. Wade, I'll just ask." Warnia hurriedly asked Charlie, "Master, do you think Mr. Watanabe has a problem?" Charlie shook his head, "One is this Watanabe, and the other is for you to see Watanabe's vice-chairman. Both of them are suspicious, but I am still not sure who has the problem, and neither it's okay to exclude both of them, or include both." Warnia nodded lightly, without saying more. This is because she also knew very well in her heart that this matter was far beyond her control. Since Charlie had already come to Japan for her, she would completely listen to his arrangements. When Ito heard that there might be a problem, he patted his chest and said, "Mr. Wade, I am very familiar with Watanabe. Although he is a little bit cunning in business, he is still very upright. I believe he should have nothing to do with the murder of Miss Song." Charlie smiled slightly, "Mr. Ito, I am not distrusting you, but this matter involves many lives, so you still have to be cautious. Could you please help me ask this Watanabe, and please also ask. At the time, try to be more natural and don't let him hear what you mean." Takehiko nodded, immediately took out his cell phone, found Watanabe's number, and called. The call was quickly connected, and a lazy voice came, "Hey, Ito, what do you be at start doing calling so early?" Takehiko laughed and said, "Watanabe, where are you now?" Watanabe yawned, "I'm sleeping, where else can I be?" "What's the matter with you?" "Let me sleep a little longer if there is nothing important," Takehiko said. "I heard that you want to cooperate with a Chinese company? Are there any companies that have confirmed intentions?" Watanabe asked curiously, "What? Are you planning to enter the steel industry?" Takehiko said, "No, I just ask you, I happen to know some friends in China. If your cooperation here has not been settled, I may be able to help you match up." Watanabe said, "We have indeed considered this matter. Recently, it seems that we have indeed been docking with some powerful Chinese companies, but I will leave this to Hashimoto." Takehiko asked, "Hashimoto? Is it Hashimoto Kinzan?" Yes. Watanabe said with a smile. To be honest, this kind of cooperation to build a factory is not too big a business for Nippon Steel as a whole. I usually don't directly intervene, but if you have friends who want to cooperate, then I can sell you face. Takehiko smiled and said, then I will thank you in advance, but has Hashimoto determined a partner for cooperation? If he already has a certain candidate, I will suddenly jump in. I am afraid. Not suitable. Watanabe said indifferently, you don't need to worry about Hashimoto's suitability, he is a senior part-time worker. If I don't ask anything, he will decide, but if I ask, he can only follow orders. Takehiko laughed and said, okay, I know, wait for me to ask my friends for details, and I will contact you if necessary. Watanabe said, you have nothing else, right? I'll hang up if there is nothing else, and continue to sleep. Okay, go to sleep. After hanging up the phone, Takehiko said to Charlie, Mr. Wade, it seems that Watanabe really doesn't know about this. He didn't even ask Miss Song and Hashimoto Kinzan about cooperation, and why would he participate in the murder? Where is Miss Song in this equation? Charlie nodded slightly and looked at Warnia to the side. Did Hashimoto called you yesterday and asked you to sign a contract with the chairman? Warnia said firmly, yes. Hashimoto called me first and asked me to go to Nishitama County to sign a contract with the chairman. Charlie snorted coldly. It seems that the problem lies with Hashimoto Kinzan. He must have deliberately deceived you to go to Nishitama County, and then set up an ambush on the mountain road in Nishitama County. Warnia asked very suspiciously, Master, I don't understand why Hashimoto Kinzan would harm me. I have no grievances with him, and there has never been any intersection before. Why did he plan to kill me? Charlie said coldly, many assailants and victims don't know each other. What really drives him to murder each other is mostly profit. It must be good for him to kill you, so he did this. Warnia was even more surprised, and asked, I really can't think of it, what good will I do for him if I die? He won't get any good either. Charlie looked at Warnia and said seriously, you are dead, it may be difficult for him to get any benefits directly, but the key is to see if anyone benefits him after you die. Warnia's expression suddenly tightened. Master, you mean, someone hired him to kill me? Charlie nodded firmly, I think it should be like this. Warnia was a little nervous at once, and at the same time she couldn't understand. She said vaguely, but it doesn't make sense. I have never offended anyone. Who would be good if I die? Charlie looked at her, smiled but did not speak, because he already had an answer in his mind at this time. He felt that Honor Song and his father Tianming Song were most likely behind the incident. Charlie knew everything about the Song family. Warnia's parents died young, and there are several uncles in the family. Among them, Tianming, the father of Honor, has the most influence. Because he is the eldest son and the successor that the old man had originally decided to set aside. Therefore, in Warnia's generation, Honor is naturally the most influential one. Warnia has not had much influence because she has no parents and is alone. It is also fortunate that Mr. Song takes care of her and loves her, so even if her parents are gone, she can still enjoy the treatment of Missy. In case Mr. Song is the kind of old feudal patriarchal patriarch, Warnia has no parents, I am afraid that the Song family has long used as a marriage tool, married her to a big family as a wife. However, since Warnia met Charlie, her position in the Song family has skyrocketed. When the old man Song was about to die, Warnia asked Charlie to pull him back from the palace of the kings of the lords. Then Charlie also looked at Warnia's face and gave him a rejuvenation pill to regain his health and be 20 years younger. Therefore, when Charlie gave a pill as a birthday gift on his birthday, Mr. Song was so excited that he passed the position of patriarch to Warnia. In this way, Warnia suddenly became the most powerful one in the Song family. In contrast, the power and influence of Honor and his father have shrunk drastically. In this case, Honor and his father must be very dissatisfied with Warnia. Once the dissatisfaction in their hearts continues to accumulate, over time, they have the idea of murdering Warnia, and it seems logical. Warnia really couldn't think of who wanted her life. Although the shadows of Honor and Tianming flashed in her mind, she immediately denied this idea. She felt that Honor grew up with her since she was a child, and treated her like a sister, so he couldn't think of her badly. This is not how simple and stupid Warnia is, but that she feels family love is priceless, and she shouldn't doubt her cousin and uncle. Charlie could see that she hadn't doubted Honor's head, so it was just on this topic, and it was just a point of fascination. He is only suspicious of Honor now, and there is no need to tell Warnia too much before he finds definite evidence. So he said to Warnia, Warnia will live in Mr. Ito's house for the time being in these 2 days. As I said, don't contact anyone, let alone let anyone know that you are still alive and who wants to kill you. I will investigate. Warnia nodded lightly, and said respectfully, Master, I will let you arrange everything. Charlie smiled slightly, you didn't sleep all night. After you finish eating, let Miss Ito arrange a room for you to rest. Nanako hurriedly said, Miss Song, what style of room do you like? Is it a Japanese-style tatami mat or a European-style soft bed? I'll let the maid prepare it in advance. Warnia hurriedly said, Miss Ito is too polite, I can go with anything. Nanako said with a sweet smile, in this case, let me help you arrange a Japanese-style guest room, which is also considered to be in the countryside. Warnia said politely, then thank you, Miss Ito. Nanako said earnestly, Miss Song is Master's good friend. When you come to Ito's house, you treat it as your own home. With that, Nanako said with some regret, Miss Song is coming to Tokyo. It stands to reason that I should accompany you to stroll around, but Master will not let you show up. This time I can only apologize for you to stay at home. After the matter is resolved, I will take you around again. Warnia did not expect that Nanako, as the eldest lady of the Ito family, was much stronger in value and background than herself, but she was so polite to her that she was flattered for a while. However, she soon realized a very real problem in her heart, and thought to herself, I have never met Miss Ito. She is so polite to me. Isn't it all about Master's face? She can only say Master. Too much ability, too much face. While Warnia was feeling emotional, Nanako had already prepared the matcha in the Japanese tea ceremony. She was the first to bring the teacup in front of Charlie, with a little respect and a little shyness, and said, Master, please enjoy. Charlie nodded slightly and smiled, "Thank you, Nanako." After that, he reached out and took the teacup. Nanako did the same, and took a cup to Warnia. Warnia discovered that although Nanako was very polite and humble when serving tea to her and Charlie, her eyes were a bit less bright than when serving tea to Charlie. As a woman, Warnia couldn't be clearer. Nanako was facing Charlie, what the light in her eyes meant. If a woman looks at a man with a different kind of light in her eyes, then this man must be the love in her heart. Because the light in the eyes is the look of love. There was a sudden sadness in her heart. The sadness is because Charlie always seems to have no shortage of women who like him. Moreover, those women who like him are all excellent. Not to mention the Ito Nanako, just in Oris Hill, Aoxu of the Chin family, and Zhovia next to the genius Dr. Shi, which one is not stunning in the world? But, who can't tell, they both have a special attachment to Charlie. Thinking of this, she looked at Charlie's eyes with a bit of resentment, and at the same time, she was also feeling emotional. "You be at das, I really don't know how many women you provoke outside, so many women love you, so passionate. Det, I see how you can pay it off in the future." At this moment, in order to please Charlie, Takehiko said to Warnia, "Miss Song, I have a relationship with Nippon Steel's chairman. You also know. When this matter is investigated, it will become clear. After the murderer is severely punished, if you still need to cooperate with Nippon Steel, I can help you build a bridge, and I will definitely help you fight for the best cooperation conditions at that time." Warnia said gratefully, "Thank you so much, Mr. Ito." Takehiko said seriously, "Miss Song, Mr. Wade has helped me the Ito family too much. It can be said that if Mr. Wade hadn't helped me at the beginning, my Ito family would probably have suffered annihilation." Speaking of this, Takehiko sighed, "Mr. Wade is so kind to us, you are his friend, that is, a friend of my Ito family. Helping friends is what we should do." After the Matsumoto family was wiped out for kidnapping a pair of children from the Sua family, Takehiko often felt that he was lucky. In the beginning, the Matsumoto family was going to kill the children of the Sua family, and then set the blame on his family. If it weren't for Charlie, it would be the Ito family that might be destroyed. Not to mention, Charlie also saved Nanako, so Takehiko attaches great importance to him. Seeing that Warnia was his friend, he was naturally willing to sell Charlie's face and help Warnia. Charlie on the side also saw this. He couldn't help but secretly said in his heart, unexpectedly, after Takehiko was injured, his temper has not only changed a lot, but he has also improved a lot in his behavior. After breakfast, Warnia, who had not rested all night, followed Nanako to the Ito family's guest room. Although she took the pill that Charlie gave her and was in good physical condition, the mental fatigue caused by the high tension could not be solved by the pill. So, she lay on the Japanese-style tatami, and soon fell asleep. At this time, after chatting with Charlie for a while, Ito said apologetically, "Mr. Wade, I'm really sorry. After the amputation, I have been relatively weak. I got up too early today. I can't hold it anymore. I'll go back to my room and rest for a while. If you have any needs, just tell Nanako." Charlie nodded slightly and said, "Mr. Ito, please Takehiko arched his hand weakly and said to Mito, "Emi, take me back to the room." Mito hurriedly said, "Okay, Oni-chan." Oni-chan is the name of brother in Japanese. The elders and inferiorities of Japanese society are very clear. Therefore, in front of outsiders, Mito has always treated Takehiko with respect, like a daughter to a father. Afterward, Mito said to Charlie with a guilty face, "I'm sorry, Mr. Wade, Oni-chan's body is severely damaged, and his vitality is severely injured. The doctor asked to take more rest." "Please forgive me," Charlie nodded and said, "Ms. Ito, please take Mr. Ito back to rest. When I finish this matter, I will definitely help Mr. Ito get a good treatment. I may not be able to make his severed limb grow longer, but at least I can restore his physical condition to the state before the injury, even better than that." Nanako, who was making tea, immediately became excited when she heard Charlie's words. She knew the weight of Charlie's words. In the beginning, her injury was also extremely serious, and she didn't even dare to imagine that she would have a chance to heal in this life, but what she didn't expect was that Charlie could quickly get rid of all of her pain with just one pill. Not only that, but her physical fitness has undergone tremendous changes and improvements. Therefore, Nanako believed that as long as Charlie was willing, he would surely be able to restore her father's body to the original state. Of course, Nanako knew very well in her heart that Charlie definitely couldn't regenerate her father's severed limbs, but he could at least greatly restore his physical condition. In that case, apart from losing his legs, her father is at least a healthy person. Rather than being so sick as it is now, very haggard and distressing. Therefore, she almost immediately put down the tea set in her hand, got up and bowed deeply to Charlie, and said gratefully, "Master, thank you so much." Takehiko also knows Charlie's ability. In the beginning, he tried every means to find all the experts in Japan, and no one had any solution to his daughter's injury. He even thought that his daughter would be inseparable from a wheelchair for the rest of her life. He even thought that under the influence of that kind of injury, her physical condition might get worse. But never dreamed that Charlie could help her daughter to recover. Not only is it recovering as before, but it is also a big step forward. This is enough to prove that Charlie is a person with great abilities and supernatural powers. Therefore, he couldn't hide his excited hands and said, "Mr. Wade, you are willing to treat me. It is a great blessing for me. Your great kindness is unforgettable." Charlie smiled slightly and said seriously, "Mr. Ito doesn't have to be so polite. My style has always been like this. You respect me, I will respect you." As Charlie said, he has always been full of grudges. Not only hatred must be repaid, but also gratitude must be repaid. For example, Aunt Lee in the orphanage, she raised him in childhood, he feels grateful to her and even willing to do anything for her. Another example is Claire, when he was so down and nothing, she was willing to marry him, and she did not ridicule and insult him like other people, but respected him as a guest. Charlie did not forget this. Sometimes, it doesn't even need to reach the point of so-called kindness, as long as the other party has enough kindness to him, he will return more kindness to the other party. Solman knew when he was lost, Charlie gave him a pill. Chin Gang was devout, Charlie donated 2 pills to his family. Orville was loyal, and Charlie not only gave him the earliest basic medicine, but also saved his life with the rejuvenating medicine. Warnia treated him pretty well at the beginning, and had always treated him respectfully, so he was willing to wish her the position of head of the house and rescue her from the overnight raid in Japan. This is Charlie's code of conduct. At this time, Charlie thought very simply, although Takehiko was a bit pretending before, but since he saved Nanako and helped the Ito family through the crisis, he immediately lost his way and knows how to return. It can be said that he is a very current affairs person. Moreover, this time he is extremely concerned about his visit to Japan and the things Warnia encountered. He really sees this in his eyes. Since he is in a situation like this, it is within his power to help him recover. After all, there are still a lot of rejuvenation pills, and this thing is of little use to him, but it has a great effect on Takehiko. He is not a martial artist, and he is not too old. If he scrapes a rejuvenating pill by 1/10 and soaks it in water for him to take it, he will surely restore his health quickly. As for why he didn't give it to him right now, he mainly wanted to control the rhythm more or less in this matter. Sometimes, to be generous to others is to be rhythmic. Although generosity is a good thing, it is like medicine. It can both cure and hurt people. Just like when injecting drugs, a scientific and reasonable rate of administration must be established according to the properties of the drug and the patient's condition. It is not good to give the medicine too quickly, but it's too slow to give, and it's not good. Giving it soon will often make the other party despise this generosity, and it may cause the other party's mentality. But slowing down will often make the other party lose patience, drain the original gratitude, and replace it with complaints and dissatisfaction. The rhythm is just right now. It's not given right away, and it won't be delayed for a long time. Just wait until he finishes Warnia's affairs. In this way, not only can Ito be grateful, but also he can spontaneously help with Warnia. Not only can he help Warnia find the real murderer behind the scenes, but he can also help her facilitate cooperation with Nippon Steel. It is possible to help her turn this crisis into an opportunity. In this way, Warnia can not only survive the crisis without any risk, but also can use this to find out who is behind the scenes, ensure that everything is safe in the future, and even get a cooperation agreement with very good terms. This is the best of both worlds. Takehiko, Nanako, and Emi all thanked Charlie respectfully at this time. Especially Takehiko, his eyes were flushed while thanking him. Seeing him emotionally, Charlie smiled at him. "Mr. Ito, you should go back to rest as soon as possible. I will tell you in advance when I am ready to treat you." Takehiko immediately said excitedly, "Okay, Mr. Wade. Anyway, I can't thank you enough." After Takehiko was pushed away by Emi, only Charlie and Nanako were left in the room. Nanako took the initiative to move her seat, and sat cross-legged opposite Charlie. While adding tea to him, she asked with a blushing face, "Master has any plans next? Do you want to investigate that Hashimoto's approach? If necessary, I can send a ninja over and monitor him secretly." Charlie thought for a while and nodded, "That's okay. After all, I am not ready to stun the snake. If you want to solve this matter once and for all, you must not only find out the master behind the scenes, but also have solid evidence." After speaking, Charlie said again, "If you have a ninja who you trust and pass the test for you, let him help me monitor Hashimoto's activities. I want to see what he does every day, where he has been, and who he has contact with. And what is the content of contact? Nanako immediately nodded and said, Master can rest assured, these are small things, and ninjas can do it, so I will give them orders. Charlie thanked her and asked her, Nanako, in your ITO family, how many ninjas can you mobilize now? Nanako thought for a while and said, there are probably 15 or 16 ninjas that can be mobilized. Charlie nodded and said, by the way, Miss Song's cousin also came to Tokyo. His name is Honor, but I don't know what hotel he is staying in Tokyo. Please I ask you to arrange for someone to investigate. After the result, 2 more ninjas can be sent to secretly monitor him. Nanako asked in surprise, Master, do you suspect that Miss Song's cousin is behind this incident? Yes. Charlie said gratefully, this matter, I will trouble you to help me keep an eye on. At noon, in the mountains of Nishitama County. The weather in Tokyo today is excellent. Clear sky. The warm sun rises high in the sky, spreading warmth and brightness over the whole earth. In such good weather, the visibility is extremely good, so it is especially suitable for search and rescue. The TMPD searched all night, but did not find any traces related to Warnia, which made the entire TMPD desperate. The search range, centered on the location of the accident, first spread to 5 kilometers, and then to 10 kilometers, still nothing. The TMPD decided to expand the search range to 20 kilometers. If it is not possible to search for 20 kilometers, it can only announce that Warnia has disappeared and whereabouts are unknown. Honor was anxious at this moment. What he needs now is to find Warnia's body as soon as possible, otherwise he will be unsure of her death, and he will not be peaceful. Hashimoto Kinzan was also anxious, and now the TMPD has highly suspected that Warnia and her party were deliberately killed, so they have begun to investigate from the scene. Although Hashimoto's staff have handled the scene very carefully, there is absolutely no perfect crime in this world. No matter how careful and cautious, they will definitely leave clues. As long as the police find the key clues, they can follow the vine and figure out the whole story. Until then, no one can escape from the subordinate who actually executed the murder to Hashimoto, who gave orders behind the scenes. Mr. Song, who was far away in Oris Hill, was still worried about Warnia's whereabouts. He made several phone calls to Honor all morning and asked about the progress of the TMPD, but Honor gave him no clue. This also made the old man's mood more and more heavy. Although he extremely hoped that his granddaughter would be safe and sound, the absence of any news for so long has made him prepare for the worst in his heart. He knows that the longer the time is delayed, the less chance the granddaughter will return. So, he hurriedly called Charlie. As soon as the phone was connected, he choked up with pleading, "Master, please find a way to save Warnia." As he said, the old man didn't feel stretched, he was crying. Charlie hurriedly comforted, "Master, don't worry, I will definitely try my best to help Warnia." Mr. Song sighed, "Master, you don't know that the Honor has gone to Japan overnight, but the whereabouts of Warnia has not been found in Japan, and the 3 people with Warnia have died. Life or death is uncertain, how can I not worry?" Charlie originally considered whether to tell Father Song that Warnia is safe. But after much deliberation, he still felt that he had to stop it. Since he said it or didn't tell him, then he wouldn't tell anyone. Whether it was Mr. Song or anyone else, he couldn't reveal half of it. So he said to Mr. Song, "Don't worry, Mr. Song, I've already notified my friends in Tokyo to help find Warnia's whereabouts. I will tell you as soon as I have any news." Mr. Song choked and said, "Master, it's true that I have a very bad premonition this time. Warnia's accident seems to have been man-made, and everyone else has died. Only she is missing. I feel it is very likely that she has been met by an accident, or she is about to meet." Charlie said, "Master, there is still no conclusion on this matter, so you don't have to be too pessimistic. I believe that Warnia has her own natural conditions, and they should be able to turn dangers into peace." Father Song was silent for a moment before he pleaded, "Master, if you can, the old man dare to ask you one thing." Charlie hurriedly said, "Master, please speak." Father Song trembled, "Master, I beg you to take time to go to Japan. In this world, I am afraid that only you will have the chance to save her." Charlie didn't tell the Song family about coming to Japan by himself. Therefore, Mr. Song now thinks that others are in Oris Hill. But since Mr. Song said so, he didn't conceal it anymore, and said, "Mr. Song, I really don't hide it. I'm in Tokyo right now, and I will do my best for Warnia." Mr. Song asked in surprise and excitement, "Master, are you in Tokyo? When did you go?" Charlie said truthfully, "Last night, I heard that Warnia had an accident, so I asked Mr. Isak from Shangri-La to help arrange the plane and flew over." Mr. Song was obviously relieved, and said gratefully, "Master, Warnia to have a friend like you is really fortunate. You are a person with great magical powers, I believe you will definitely save her." As he said, he hurriedly said again, "Master, Honor also took some people to Tokyo last night. Or I will let him see you and let him listen to your instructions over there. What do you think?" Charlie couldn't help frowning when he heard this. See Honor? He is not interested. However, when he thought that Honor was the biggest suspect, Charlie felt that it was okay to see him. See him and see if this kid will show his feet when facing him. So Charlie said to Mr. Song, "Old man, let Mr. Song call me, and I will tell him the time and place of the meeting." Father Song was very excited, "Okay, okay. Master, wait a minute, I'll call him, let him visit you immediately. In the future in Tokyo, let him listen to your instructions." Charlie snorted and said, "Okay, let him call me." Honor is worrying about the hotel at this time. He thought his trip to Japan would be very simple. He would come and claim Warnia's body. Discuss directly with his family about how to take the body back. Then he could go back to Oris Hill to prepare for the funeral. After the funeral, give Grandpa the neurological drugs prepared by his father to slowly turn him into Alzheimer's patient, and then he can be raised as a mascot. However, he did not expect that he planned everything carefully, but he was directly stuck in the first link. He is here, but Warnia's body is gone. Just when he was riding a tiger and didn't know what to do next, Mr. Song called. This is already the 8th call that Mr. Song has made to Honor today. He looked at the word Grandpa on the phone, and couldn't help screaming, "Fku cold stuff." Keep calling his mother. He will annoy me sooner or later. He scolded, but he still didn't dare to delay a little bit, and hurriedly pressed his phone to answer. As soon as the phone was connected, Honor immediately seemed to have changed. He said in a respectful voice with a bit of self-blame and a bit of sadness, "Grandpa, sorry, there is still no news from the TMPD, but you don't worry, I will urge them again." Grandpa Song gave a hum and said, "Honor, I called you because I have something to tell you." Honor hurriedly said, "Grandpa, please tell me what you want." Mr. Song said, "Master Wade has also reached Tokyo." Honor's whole body suddenly exploded in shock, and he blurted out, "What did you say?" Hearing that Charlie had come to Tokyo, Honor was shaking all over. He didn't expect him to be in Tokyo. He knew that Warnia was easy to deal with, and the old man was easy to deal with, but taking on Master Charlie was by no means a good deal. Therefore, as soon as he heard about this, his whole person suddenly panicked. The old man Song on the other end of the phone asked him in surprise, "Honor, what's wrong with you? What's the fuss about?" Honor only then came back to his senses, suppressing the tension deep in his heart, and said, "Grandpa, why did Master come? I can't believe it, is it because of Warnia?" Mr. Song hummed, and said, "Master is a person of loyalty, and Warnia has always had a good relationship with him. Now that something happened to her, he rushed to Tokyo as soon as possible, which shows how much he values her. With the help of Master, the chances of finding Warnia are much higher. Honor is crazy with hatred." He roared in his heart, "D at MN. Charlie B at starred, what is he doing in Tokyo now? He's not at home to spend time with his wife, and what does he come to Tokyo for? Tokyo can't turn around without him, right? Honor is very clear about Charlie's ability. That's why he worried. On the one hand, he worried that he would be exposed in front of Charlie, on the other hand, he was also worried about whether Charlie could really find Warnia. What if he really rescued Warnia? At this moment, Old Man Song saw that he hadn't responded for a long time, and he asked, "Honor? Are you still listening?" Honor quickly said, "I'm listening, I'm listening." After finishing speaking, he quickly said, "Grandpa, that would be great if Master can come. I feel more at ease in my heart." Mr. Song said, "Yes. When I heard Master said that he had arrived in Tokyo, my heart really became more at ease. I believe that with Master, Warnia will surely be able to make good fortune." Honor can only agree, "Grandpa, you are right. I also think that with him, Warnia will be safe with him." Mr. Song seldom laughed twice and said, "Honor, if you hang up later, call him immediately, and then quickly go to meet him. From now on, you must listen to Master Wade for everything in Tokyo. Do you understand?" Honor said without hesitation, "Grandpa, don't worry, I must look forward to Master's orders." Mr. Song said with satisfaction, "If you have this enlightenment, just call Master." Honor hurriedly said, "Okay, Grandpa. Then I'll hang up first." "Okay." Honor hung up his grandfather's phone, and his whole body suddenly became angry. Unable to control his emotions, he slammed a punch on the glass coffee table and smashed the tempered glass coffee table to pieces. At the same time, his right hand was also scratched by the glass, and several bloody holes appeared immediately. Honor didn't care about the pain at all, his mind was full of anger and tension at this time. To Charlie, he already hated him, and he thought to himself, this man. He's too lenient for meddling. I really thought that if someone called you master, you would really control the heir. The Song family's affairs are his family affairs, why is he so nosy? If it weren't for him to get involved in the first place, it would be impossible for the old thing to go against it and let Warnias become the head of the Song family. In that case, naturally I wouldn't want to kill her. Thinking of this, Honor's eyes were full of hatred, and he whispered to himself coldly, Charlie, Warnia, you'd better not cause me trouble or engage with monsters, otherwise, I don't care about you master. I must find a way to kill you. After that, Honor calmed down again, took out his phone, and called Charlie. As soon as the phone was connected, Honor heard on the other end of the phone, Charlie said, hello, hello. He hurriedly said, Master? I am Honor Song. Charlie said, oh, it's Mr. Song. Honor hurriedly said, Master, Grandpa called me and said that you have come to Tokyo for Warnia. He asked me to follow your instructions. I don't know where you are now. Charlie said, I am living at a friend's house. Honor didn't think much, and said, Master, friend's house may not be convenient and the conditions may not be really good. It's better to stay in a hotel. I am staying at the Amon Hotel Tokyo. If you need, I'll let someone get the best room for you. Charlie said lightly, don't bother, it's quite convenient for me to live in a friend's house. With that said, Charlie deliberately used the tone of a leader to his subordinates, and ordered, Mr. Song, I want to meet with you. You can report to me face to face about Warnia and the current investigation progress of this matter. Honor felt 10,000 upset in his heart, but still said very sincerely, okay, Master, you give me an address, I will rush over to meet you now. Charlie deliberately wanted to give Honor a disarm, so he said indifferently, no, didn't you stay at the Amon Hotel? You wait at the hotel for a while, and I will arrange for someone to pick you up and call you when they arrive. Honor also wanted to say something politely, saying, Master, how can you be in the next? How troubling for you to send someone to pick me up. It's better for me to come by myself, Charlie said coldly, don't say much, just wait for the call. After that, Charlie directly hung up the phone. Honor on the other end of the phone was already bursting his lungs. He slammed the phone on the carpet and yelled, Fkook! Who the hell do you call Mr. Song? I ask you to call, so you dare to call? Is Mr. Song your servant? After finishing speaking, he roared angrily, D@MN. Let me see you? Why are you so boastful? If you have a friend in Tokyo who can have a place to stay for a night, it's not you who are awesome. What a fkook! However, even though Honor has been scolded, he still sees it clearly in his heart. Even if I am dissatisfied with Charlie's 10,000 times, I must honestly meet him and obey his instructions. At the very least, I have to pretend to be very cooperative on the surface, otherwise, if he notices something wrong with me, wouldn't I be finished? Charlie's temper is notoriously bad. He and my sister have never been clear. If I let him know that I killed my sister, maybe he will kill me directly in Japan. Everything is cold, at this moment, the residence of the Ito family. Warnia is still resting, Nanako has been with Charlie. Charlie ended the call with honor, and said to Nanako next to him, I have to trouble you to do me a favor again. Nanako hurriedly said, Master, please give orders. Charlie smiled slightly and said, I'm going to trouble you to send a team to help me pick someone up here. The team should be as grand as possible, the grander the better. When Nanako heard Charlie's request for a grand team, she immediately smiled and said, Master, isn't the team a bit grand enough? Or I would just send a few helicopters over. Charlie smiled slightly, is this guy staying at the Amon Hotel in Tokyo and arranging a helicopter in the city center, isn't it inappropriate? Nanako smiled and said seriously, Master, this little thing is not inappropriate for the Ito family. If you want, you can leave this to me to arrange it. I will definitely not disappoint you. Charlie thought about it for a moment, then nodded and agreed, and said with a smile, then I will trouble you for help. I have only one purpose, to completely shock him. Nanako smiled and said, Master can rest assured, I will give him a vivid and realistic education class. Amon Hotel. Honor asked his beautiful assistant to put a few band-aids on his hands. This girl is not only his assistant, but also his lover, but also his confidant. After helping Honor to deal with the wound, she said distressedly, Mr. Song, you should never be so impulsive in the future. You can't make fun of your body anyway. Honor said with a gloomy expression, you don't understand, it's not that I'm too impulsive, it's that Charlie is too tricky. It's a huge trouble for me to stay in Tokyo. The assistant hurriedly said, Mr. Song, it's actually not that difficult to deal with such a person. Let Hashimoto first summon a few killers and find a chance to kill him. Honor waved his hand and sighed, oh, you don't understand, you don't know what Charlie is capable of. This person is quite capable, and most people are not his opponents. Furthermore, if you rush to trouble him, you will most likely expose yourself in advance. In that case, you will lose more than you gain. The assistant asked, Mr. Song, what should we do now? Is it like the old man said, you should follow his arrangements? Honor nodded, and said coldly, there is no other way but to cooperate with him superficially, and hope that he will not discover me. As he said, he sighed and said without a word in his heart, I just don't know if I can remain calm in front of him. This person is very shrewd, and if I am careless, he might be able to see it. The assistant hurriedly said, Mr. Song, you are the person with the best psychological quality I have ever seen. I believe that you will definitely not expose any flaws. Honor nodded slightly, I hope. As he was talking, Honor's cell phone rang suddenly. On the phone, a woman's voice came, is this, Mr. Honor Song? Honor snorted and said, yes, it's me. The woman said, hello Mr. Song, I am sent by Mr. Wade to pick you up. Are you ready to go? Honor said, I'm ready, where shall we meet? The woman said, you should be staying at the Amon Hotel, right? Honor said, yes, I am in the presidential suite of the Amon Hotel. Honor deliberately said the two words presidential suite, just to find a sense of superiority in front of the other party. He knew that Charlie had some skills, but he also felt that Charlie's skills should only be useful in Oris Hill. If he leaves Oris Hill and arrives in Japan, he will definitely be discounted. Therefore, he instinctively didn't look at the friend in Charlie's mouth. In his opinion, it is impossible for Charlie to make friends with high-ranking officials in Japan. It is estimated that the other party is at most a middle class in Tokyo. The woman on the other end said calmly, "Since Mr. Song lives in the Amon Hotel, please move to the rooftop now." Rooftop? Honor frowned. "What do you want me to do on the rooftop?" The woman said, "The helicopter is waiting on the rooftop." Helicopter? Honor's expression was a little surprised, but also a little despised. He thought to himself, this Charlie and his friends are really boring. There are some helicopters to pick me up in the city. It's a little bit of money. Don't you know where to spend it? Rent a helicopter. I think I'm really awesome. This bit is really too low, right? Thinking of this, he smiled contemptuously, and then said very politely, "If this is the case, please wait a moment, I will come up." "Well, I am waiting for Mr. Song on the rooftop." After Honor hung up the phone, he immediately laughed contemptuously, "Humph, Charlie is really interesting. I said I'm going to find him. He has to let me wait for his friend to pick me up, and he has to get a helicopter. Does it make sense to come and pick me up? Have I never seen the world? With a helicopter, he wants to bluff me." The assistant smiled slightly. "In my opinion, Mr. Song, this Charlie is nothing but the light of fireflies, so he is so embarrassed to compete with you like the sun and the moon. He doesn't know what to do." Honor sneered, "Oh, if you want to talk about him, he still has some ability, and nothing else. The rejuvenation pill in his hand is really a good thing. I really hope to see it. I can have one when I am old." As he said, Honor sighed and waved his hand to the assistant. "Okay, let's not talk about it, you come to the rooftop with me." "Okay, President Song." Honor took his confidant assistant to the rooftop of the Amon Hotel. At this time, a heavy black helicopter was parked on a helipad on the rooftop. When Honor saw the helicopter, he was a little surprised and said, "Oh, to pick me. Charlie and his friend are really willing to pay for this. This Super Cougar helicopter has an ex-factory price of more than 1.5. With a little modification, the price will exceed 200 million. Such a helicopter can cost hundreds of thousands for a short flight." The little assistant smiled and said, "To spend hundreds of thousands to pretend to be forceful in front of Mr. Song. This man is really blind." "Yes." Honor sneered, "Have you seen the 4 letters on the fuselage of this plane?" The little assistant looked at the eye-catching white letters on the black fuselage and read them one by one. "I do." "Mr. Song, what does this mean?" "There seems to be no such word in English." Honor said with a smile, "This is not an English word, it is the Roman sound of Japanese. The 4 letters of Itu, pronounced in Roman sound, should be pronounced as Yaito." "Yaito." The assistant frowned. "What does this mean, Mr. Song? It sounds weird." Honor said seriously, There are really few people in the world. The Japanese corresponding to these 4 letters means ITO, which means that this aircraft belongs to the largest family in Japan, the ITO family." "Ah! The little assistant exclaimed, "Is it the plane of the Ito family? My goodness, does Charlie know someone from the Ito family?" Honor curled his lips, "Just rely on him? I know people from the Ito family, is he worthy?" The little assistant asked in surprise, "Then what's going on with this plane?" Honor said with a smile, "You don't know anything about it. The industry of the Ito family covers all walks of life in Japan. The family has its own general aviation company called Ito General Aviation." Ito General Aviation. Yes. It's Ito General Aviation. Honor explained, "This general aviation company is mainly engaged in short and medium distance navigation. It has more than 200 various aircraft under its umbrella, including more than 100 helicopters, which is very powerful. I guess Charlie and his friend rented this helicopter from Ito General Aviation." The little assistant nodded and said with a smile, "So that's it. You said that this plane belongs to the Ito family, which really shocked me. You thought Charlie's friend was from the Ito family." Honor sneered, "I just said that he doesn't deserve to know someone from the Ito family. The Ito family is now in Japan, which is equivalent to the Sua family in our country. Charlie, a guy who relies on feng shui and dances, even he is not worthy to give shoes to the Ito family." In Honor's heart, the status of the Ito family is indeed very high. After all, this is the largest family in Japan, and it has just survived the fierce battle of the three major families in Tokyo. In this regard alone, the future of the Ito family is limitless. Therefore, Honor did not believe that Charlie could have any actual relationship with the Ito family. It must be him or his friend who spent money to rent a helicopter owned by the Ito family General Aviation Company. So he took his little assistant and walked to the helipad. Standing by the helicopter was a beautiful lady wearing a blue flight attendant uniform. Seeing the two approaching, she looked at Honor and said respectfully, "You should be Mr. Song, right?" Honor nodded, and said arrogantly, "Yes, it's me. Are you responsible for picking me up?" The beauty smiled slightly and said, "Yes, Mr. Song, Mr. Wade and our eldest lady are waiting for you at home now, please board the plane with the lady." Honor hummed, "Master is so polite. In the urban area, you don't need to take a helicopter at all, can't you just take a car?" The beauty said indifferently, "Mr. Song," our eldest lady said, "be more solemn when picking you up." Honor shook his head and smiled, and thought to himself contemptuously, "Send a helicopter here to be grand? Do you think I'm a bunny who has never seen the world? Our Song family is also worthy of private jets and private helicopters. I'll have this stuff in my eyes. It's nothing great." However, since it is the helicopter sent by Charlie, he naturally did not dare to say such dismissive remarks in person, so he said very politely, "If this is the case, then let's leave now." After that, he took his assistant and got into the heavy helicopter. This helicopter was originally able to carry at least 20 people, but now the cabin has been completely transformed into a luxurious room, just like a top luxury RV. Honor sat down on the sofa of the helicopter and asked the beauty, "I don't know where Master is, how far is it from here?" The beauty smiled and said, "It's almost 15 kilometers. 15 kilometers? Honor said helplessly, "Isn't it just a few minutes away?" The beauty smiled and said, it takes a few minutes to fly, it takes about half an hour. What? Half an hour? Honor said dumbfounded. 15 kilometers, even if you pedal a bicycle, you can get there by pedaling faster for half an hour. The speed of this helicopter can't be slowed to this point, right? The beauty smiled and said, Mr. Song doesn't know something. In order to show the importance of you, our eldest has specially arranged a sightseeing route. You will know later. Honor asked a little puzzled, could I ask who your eldest lady is? The beauty shook her head and said apologetically, I'm sorry, Mr. Song, we can't tell you the identity of our eldest lady yet, but when we get to the place, you will naturally know. Honor nodded and said, okay. Having said that, he also muttered in his heart, I don't know what kind of medicine Charlie is selling in the gourd. I'm free to get a helicopter, what's the trouble here? At this time, the beautiful woman said, Mr. Song, our helicopter is about to take off. Please put on the intercom headset and buckle your seat belt. Okay. Honor nodded, put on the intercom headset, and buckled the seat belt. Since loud noise is generated when the helicopter is in operation, it is impossible to hear each other in a normal conversation in the cabin. In order to solve the problem of communication in the cabin, all the crew and passengers on the helicopter wear headphones with very good sound effects. Wearing headphones can not only isolate the sound of the engine, but also use radio to ensure each other's call. Once the helicopter gets up, they can only communicate with each other in this way. At this time, the helicopter engine turned slowly, then accelerated continuously, and soon began to slowly rise. Honor thought, I can also take this opportunity to take a look at Tokyo under the sky. As he was thinking, he heard the beautiful woman's voice in the headset, and she said, No 2 and number 3 take off, number 4 and number 5 start the engines, number 6 and number 7 start to prepare. Honor was still a little puzzled, and he thought to himself, what is number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5? What is this girl talking about here? Just wondering, the assistant on the side pointed to the roofs of the other 2 buildings on both sides of the window, and said in surprise, Mr. Song, there are also 2 helicopters flying on the roofs of those 2 buildings, exactly the same as the one we are sitting on. Honor turned his head to see, as expected. 2 identical helicopters take off at the same time and simultaneously on the left and right sides. These 2 planes are not only the same as the model they are flying in, they are all Super Cougar, but also the fuselage painting is the same, both of which are painted by ITO General Aviation. Honor asked the beauty in surprise, these 2 planes are also yours? The beauty nodded and smiled, they will accompany you all the way. Honor was stunned, what is full flight companionship? The beauty smiled and said, it is to accompany you throughout the flight, just like the front and rear cars of the convoy. Honor's expression was a bit stunned and said, is this really necessary? Master won't be too expensive, right? The beauty said calmly, don't worry, Mr. Wade doesn't have to pay a penny. Honor nodded, and thought to himself, needless to say, Charlie should have found another bully in Tokyo. As they were talking, the 2 helicopters had risen to the same height as them. After that, the 2 planes followed the plane Honor was riding in, and the 3 planes moved forward at the same speed. Just 1 kilometer after flying out, Honor's assistant pointed to the two buildings on both sides and said, "Mr. Song. 2 more planes on both sides." Honor took a closer look and was shocked. "This is 5. Is this necessary?" Just after speaking, the assistant pointed far away and blurted out, "Mr. Song, there seem to be black helicopters on the roofs of the 2 buildings in front." Honor looked in the direction of her fingers, and indeed there were 2 black things the size of ants at a distance of 1 kilometer away. Honor carefully identified the 2 black objects parked on the top of the building. They really looked like the same helicopter he was riding in. "I was surprised that the 2 helicopters that took off just now have arrived. The fleet has changed from 3 to 5. Soon, the black things that were like 2 ants became bigger and bigger in Honor's vision, and it was easy to recognize them. They were indeed 2 helicopters. Subsequently, the 2 helicopters also began to take off. The fleet has changed from 5 to 7. At this time, Honor had a numb scalp. He doesn't understand, what exactly is Charlie doing? Just pick him up, is it necessary to make it so grand? As he was thinking, he heard the beauty say on the walkie-talkie, "The efficiency of taking off in 2s is too low. Let's start 4 at a time." Seeing that 4 helicopters really took off, and the fleet quickly expanded to nearly 20 all the way, Honor felt like a fight. He didn't understand, so he thought to himself, "What the hell is doing? Sending 20 helicopters for more than 10 kilometers of roads, this is too incredible, right? Also, where does Charlie's friend from Tokyo come from? Renting 20 helicopters also cost a lot of money. Is it a waste of money to burn?" At this time, the citizens of Tokyo were all startled by the echelon of helicopters whizzing by in the sky. One by one stopped and looked up, thinking that something big had happened, or something extraordinary was coming. The more Honor couldn't guess Charlie's motive, the more he felt guilty. Although he and Charlie are not familiar, nor can they talk about friends, at least they are acquaintances. If you meet between acquaintances, shouldn't it be an appointment and then go separately? Charlie suddenly made this appearance, what does it mean? At this time, on the top floors of the high-rise buildings on both sides, new helicopters are constantly taking off and joining them. Soon, the total number of helicopter echelons exceeded 30. Honor has never experienced such a battle in his entire life, and his heart is a little hairy. Moreover, he did not have the initial contempt in his heart. Subconsciously told him that Charlie seemed to be much better than he thought, including his Japanese friend whom he had never met. First URL mkanshu8.net. Maybe, the other party is still a big local in Tokyo. More than 30 helicopters circulated idling over downtown Tokyo, and finally hovered over a private estate. At this time, Honor discovered that the 30 or so helicopters around him had become a circular layout, enclosing his own plane in the middle. As for his own plane, it was slowly descending at this time. Honor looked down at the huge estate below, and asked the beauty in surprise, "Excuse me, where is this?" The beauty said, "Back to Mr. Song, this is where our eldest lady lives." Honor doesn't know where the Ito family's mansion is, so he can't recognize who owns the mansion directly below. However, looking at the location, area, and architectural style, you know that this is definitely not an ordinary home. As the helicopter slowly descended, Honor's heartbeat became faster and faster. He hurriedly thought in his heart, Charlie's friends in Tokyo have such a strong family background, and their energy must not be underestimated. If Charlie asks them to help investigate Warnia's affairs, then maybe he is really going to explode. Before, Honor still felt that even if Charlie came to Japan, it was meaningless. He was unfamiliar with the place in Japan. He didn't know what he did. He didn't have enough contacts and human help. He wanted to find Warnia's whereabouts or investigate the cause of Warnia's death is as difficult as reaching the sky. This is true for most people. Everyone's abilities have obvious geographical restrictions. For example, Orville is an underground emperor in Oris Hill. No one dares to provoke him, but as long as he leaves Oris Hill, even if he is in Suzhou, his influence will be greatly reduced. If he were to come to Tokyo, with his little influence in Oris Hill, any rich would dare to slap him in the face. This is because most of Orville's abilities can only be brought into play when he is in Oris Hill. The farther away from Oris Hill, the smaller his abilities. Honor originally thought that Charlie must be the same. Charlie was screaming in Oris Hill because there were a lot of local bigwigs who had good looks in Oris Hill. But once he leaves Oris Hill, his influence is bound to decline drastically. If he really came to Japan to investigate Warnia's affairs, he might not even be able to find a 3 or 5 assistant. But now, Honor finally realized how ignorant he was. Because he discovered that Charlie seems to have an extraordinary relationship in Japan. The helicopter landed on the lawn in the back garden of the Ito family. As soon as the helicopter landed, 20 men in black suits ran over neatly. Then, 20 people stood on both sides of the hatch, very mighty. At this time, the beautiful lady in the helicopter opened the hatch, jumped down first, and then said to Honor, "Mr. Song, please." Honor swallowed with some difficulty, while drumming in his heart, he stepped out of the helicopter nervously. The beauty said, "Mr. Song, please come with me. Mr. Wade and our eldest lady are already waiting in the living room." Honor hurriedly asked humbly, "Beauty, can I dare to ask, who is the eldest lady in your family?" The beauty smiled and said, "Our eldest lady's identity, when you see her later, she will definitely tell you in person." Honor pretended to smile indifferently, but in fact he became a dog in panic. He could see that such a mansion, in such a good location in Tokyo, is worth at least tens or even tens of billions of yuan. The family that can have such a mansion should be much stronger than the Song family. At this time, the beauty gestured at him with a gesture of invitation, and said with a smile, "Mr. Song, please here." Uneasy Honor could only nod his head, biting his head to follow. He followed the beauty through the back garden of the entire Ito family mansion, and then through the long corridor to the door of a Japanese-style room. The beauty said to him and his assistant, "2, please wait a moment, I'll go in and report." Honor nodded hurriedly, "Please, let's wait at the door first." The beauty entered the door and said to Charlie and Nanako, who were drinking tea cross-legged in front of the tea table, "Mr. Wade, Madam, the guests are here." Nanako nodded and said lightly, "Please let them in." The beauty immediately said, "Okay, lady." After that, she came to the door and said to Honor, "Mr. Song, please come in." On the side, Honor's assistant asked Honor in a low voice, "Mr. Song, am I going in too?" I'm a little nervous, so I'm not going. Honor saw her look very flustered, knowing that she might have been frightened by the unbelievable large formation of the other party, so she dared not go in. He sighed inwardly, "Are you a little nervous? Did you know that I am also panicked now?" However, he also knew that the assistant could still retreat, but he could not do it, so he had no choice but to say, "Then you wait for me outside." The assistant heaved a sigh of relief, and nodded hurriedly, as if she was granted a pardon. Honor mustered up the courage at this time and stepped into the door. As soon as he entered the door, he saw Charlie tasting tea at the tea table. At this moment, Charlie was still the same as before, with a calm face, seeing Honor coming in, waved his hand slightly at him. Opposite Charlie, there was also a young-looking Japanese woman who was wearing a Japanese-style kimono. She looked not only extremely beautiful, but also gentle and elegant. Honor recognized this woman at a glance. At this time, the stormy sea had already turned up in his heart, and he muttered to himself, This woman is not the eldest lady of the Ito family, Nanako, known as Yamato Nadeshiko. Is it? Is it that the local friend Charlie said is her? Honor felt at this moment that his outlook on life, values, and world outlook were completely subverted in an instant. He didn't expect Charlie to have a relationship with Miss Ito. What's more terrifying is that the eldest lady of the Ito family is wearing a kimono, kneeling across from Charlie, and pouring tea to him respectfully like a waiter. This is simply incredible. Honor wailed desperately in his heart, "What the hell is this? Do the Japanese also believe in the feng shui metaphysics? Otherwise, how did Charlie flick Nanako?" Just when his mind was full of shock and surprise, Charlie saw him come in, as if he had seen a friend's son, smiled and waved at him and said, "Oh, Honor, come on, please sit down." Seeing Charlie's calm face, Honor was even more puzzled, and wondered, Charlie has such a good relationship with Warnia, why did Warnia have been missing for so long? Charlie came to Tokyo, but instead of looking for someone so calm, drinking tea in the Ito family mansion. Although Honor was puzzled in his heart, he bit his head and came to Charlie's front and said respectfully, "Hello, Master." After speaking, he looked at Nanako and said politely, "Hello, Miss Ito. Please take care of me for the first time." Nanako smiled slightly and said, "Mr. Song knows me." Honor nodded, "You are so well known, how could I not know you?" Nanako smiled generously and stretched out her hand to signal, "Mr. Song, please sit down, just have a taste of the Japanese tea ceremony and see if it suits your appetite." Honor hurriedly waved his hand and said, "Miss Ito is really too polite. This time, I came to listen to Master's instructions, so I just want to stand here." Charlie faintly waved his hand, "It's Honor, I've known your grandfather, you don't need to be so cautious in front of me, since Miss Ito let you sit, then you sit." The tone of Charlie's words made Honor very disgusted. He could hear the feeling of being elevated in Charlie's mouth. This made his heart very upset. But at this moment, he didn't dare to disobey Charlie halfway. After all, Charlie is a guest of the Ito family, and this amount of gold is too great. So he hurriedly said respectfully, "Since Master said so, it's better to be respectful." After all, he just sat down beside Charlie. After sitting cross-legged, Honor was in a state of anxiety, always wondering what kind of medicine Charlie sold in the gourd. At this moment, Charlie asked, "Honor, what do you know about Warnia? Tell me." Honor felt a little bit in his heart, but on the surface, he tried to control it as natural as possible, and said, "Master is like this. Some time ago Warnia wanted to cooperate with Nippon Steel in Japan, so she brought people to Japan to start a follow-up. Nippon Steel was negotiating, but something happened suddenly last night. The commercial vehicle she was riding in crashed into a cliff in the mountains of Nishitama County. The other 3 people in the car died on the spot. Warnia is currently missing." Charlie nodded, looked at him and asked, "What did the Tokyo Metropolitan Police say?" Honor was a little guilty when Charlie saw that. He hurriedly lowered his head and pretended to respectfully say, "Master, the TMPD has sent a lot of people to search in Nishitama County, but yet to find Warnia's whereabouts." As he said, Honor hurriedly added, "However, they are increasing the police force to expand the search range, hoping they can find valuable clues as soon as possible. Of course, it is best to find Warnia's whereabouts as soon as possible." Charlie waved his hand and said faintly, "I am not asking this. I am asking the TMPD. Is there any definition of this matter? Is this fall from the cliff an accident or not? Or was someone deliberately murdered?" Hearing the 4 words of deliberate murder, Honor immediately became nervous. He felt that cold sweat had begun to ooze from his back, and he was wearing his jacket, so it was not easy to be seen. In fact, the TMPD already has a clear definition. They think this incident is a deliberate murder, because the scene of the accident was obviously handled by humans. However, they have not found any valuable clues. Now that Charlie asked so bluntly, Honor's heart became more and more panicked. He originally thought that Charlie was alone in Japan and couldn't get over the storm in Tokyo, but now it is different. The relationship between Charlie and the ITO family is so good. As long as he has a word, the family will do everything they want in 1,000 ways to help him investigate this matter. The ITO family is very strong in Japan. Once they intervene, it is very likely that they will go slant and find out the truth faster than the police. Honor was nervous and didn't know how to respond to Charlie's question. And Charlie also asked at this time, "Honor, why don't you speak?" Honor recovered and hurriedly said, "Oh, I'm really sorry, Master, I just thought about Warnia, and also worried about her safety, so I was a little distracted." After speaking, he sat up straight and said truthfully, "Master, the TMPD defines this matter as the possibility of deliberate murder, but because no valuable clues have been found. So the specifics are to be determined based on further investigation. As for the murder, it is just a guess." Charlie nodded, and said coldly, "TMPD is a notorious waste. Some time ago, Tokyo's public security was so poor and there were so many major and important cases. The TMPD has not solved all those cases. So if Warnia counts on them, I don't know if I have to wait until the year of the monkey." Afterwards, Charlie pointed to Nanako and said to Honor, "Honor, Miss Nanako has a deep friendship with me, and I have some connections with the ITO family. I believe you have heard of their strength in Japan. With the help of Miss Nanako, I believe that our search for Warnia should be faster than the TMPD." Nanako immediately said respectfully, "Master, please don't worry, as long as you say a word, the entire Ito family will be dispatched for you." Nanako's words made Honor panic. He knew very well that judging by the strength of the entire Ito family, even if they could not find the living Warnia, they would definitely be able to find out the truth of the matter. Moreover, just now the Ito family had so many helicopters to pick him up with great momentum, which is enough to show that the Ito family is very attentive to any instructions of Charlie. It can also be imagined that once Charlie speaks, the Ito family will definitely go all out to find Warnia's whereabouts and the whole thing. By then, everything will be over. Honor's heart was desperate at this time. A thin layer of sweat has even poured out of his forehead. Charlie saw all his reactions in his eyes and became more and more certain in his heart that Honor definitely had a big problem. At the moment Nanako expressed his attitude to Charlie, Honor had already begun to plan to leave Japan as soon as possible. He knew that as long as the Ito family intervened, he would be exposed soon. If at the moment of exposure, if you are still in Japan, you basically don't have to want to go back alive. Because he knew that Charlie would definitely not let him go. The only way at the moment is to leave Japan and get rid of the old man before he is exposed, and take over the entire Song family completely. As long as he can take over all the assets of the Song family, he can break away from Charlie. After all, the Song family's assets of 1 or 200 billion cannot be resisted by Charlie, a so-called master. Seeing Honor next to him, Charlie looked a little restless, and deliberately asked, "Honor, how come you look absent? Is there any physical discomfort?" Honor hurriedly waved his hand and said, "No, Master, I'm just a little worried about Warnia. She has been missing all night. I am afraid that the more delay, the less chance of her survival." Charlie looked at him and said seriously, "Don't worry, as long as I am here, Warnia will never die." Honor pretended to be pleased and said, "That's great. Master, it's all up to you if you can find Warnia." When he said this, Honor's heart was viciously cursed. "Even if Warnia is really alive, I will definitely kill her. Even if you Charlie stand in front of me, it's useless. As long as I Song the honor is, Warnia is not allowed to live, she must die." At this time, Charlie said, "If you are honored, go back to the hotel first, and look for Warnia's affairs. You don't have to intervene. Stay in the hotel and wait for my good news." Honor was a little surprised at once, and thought to himself, "What do you mean? He sent dozens of helicopters to pick me up, and just said a few words, 'Let me go?' A phone call or even a WeChat can solve it, so why bother?" However, although Honor was puzzled, he didn't dare to have any disobedience. He hurriedly stood up and said seriously, "Master, since this is the case, then I will leave first." Charlie nodded and said, "Don't run around in Tokyo these days, just stay in the hotel and wait for my news." Honor quickly said, "Okay Master, I will be waiting for your news at the hotel these few days." Nanako spoke at this time, "Since Mr. Song is going back to the hotel, I will let the helicopter take you back." Honor said flatteredly, "Ms. Ito is really too polite. It's not far from the hotel. I can just go out and take a taxi. I won't bother you to arrange a helicopter." Nanako said earnestly, "Mr. Song is Master's guest, and that is the distinguished guest of my Ito family. The ITO family has never allowed the distinguished guests to take a taxi and leave by themselves, so I should ask Mr. Song to return by helicopter. Honor nodded, and said with a little embarrassment, Miss ITO, it's okay to go back by helicopter, but you really don't need to send so many helicopters. It's too wasteful, one is enough. Nanako smiled slightly, Mr. Song doesn't have to be so polite. The reason why so many helicopters are sent to pick you up together is also because the ITO family attaches great importance to distinguished guests. Honor had no choice but to say, then I will follow Miss Ito's arrangement. Nanako nodded, looked at her assistant and asked her to send Honor. As soon as Honor left, Nanako hurriedly said to Charlie, Master, your intuition is really accurate. After meeting, I also think there is a problem with Honor. Charlie said coldly, as long as people with a guilty conscience, no matter how strong their psychological quality is, they will definitely expose some flaws. Honor will obviously become nervous after seeing you. This must be because he is afraid of the ITO family. Strength, knowing that once the ITO family intervenes, this matter will surely be revealed, so he must be frightened in his heart. After speaking, Charlie said again, I think Honor will most likely run away soon after this incident. You must let your ninja watch him closely, and never let him run away. Nanako nodded and said, although Master can rest assured, I have already arranged everything. When Honor comes, my ninja has already rushed to the hotel, and they will monitor Honor in all aspects. Charlie smiled with satisfaction and said, if he has other accomplices, the first thing he does after he returns to the hotel must be to get in touch with his accomplices. Then you must eavesdrop on all his calls to find clues. During the flight back to the hotel, Honor was always a little restless. After such a major change, he himself has lost his backbone, and all hopes are pinned on his father Tianming. He can't wait to contact Tianming and tell him what happened here. However, since he was still sitting on the helicopter of the ITO family, he could only resist this impulse and wait until the hotel. On the way back, dozens of helicopters were still roaring and escorting him. Outsiders seemed to be very aggressive, but they put a lot of pressure on Honor. The strength of the ITO family was undoubtedly revealed in this short flight. According to Nanako's assistant, the ITO General Aviation Company, owned by the ITO family, has taken over 80% of Tokyo's high-rise aprons. Usually, their helicopters do not stop at the airport, but on the top aprons of Tokyo's high-rise buildings. The advantage of this is that once there is any demand, the helicopter closest to the demand location can take off quickly. That's why, when he came here, ITO family helicopters took off from the top of each building. The more the ITO family showed their muscles in front of him like this, the more frightened Honor became. Back at the Amon Hotel, the first thing he did when he entered the room was to immediately take out his mobile phone and call Tianming. At this time, Tianming had just landed in Oris Hill after more than 10 hours of flying. After the call was connected, Honor's first sentence was, "Dad, I will soon be exposed. Neither in Tokyo nor in Japan can I stay for long. I plan to return home quietly tonight. You will also get rid of the old stuff as soon as possible." Tianming was shocked and blurted out and asked, "What's the matter? What happened?" Honor said in a crying voice, "It's Charlie. That guy is 2D at MN strong. Dad, you can't imagine that Japan's largest ITO family completely treats him as their father. Charlie said to look for Warnia. The ITO family immediately stated that everyone in the family can be dispatched by him. I don't know what the hell does Charlie has, do these people have brain problems or what? It's beyond my comprehension. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.